Home Ministry to strengthen border security. COVID-19, no need to suspend Friday prayers. Good evening. Thanks for joining us here on News on 2. I'm Brenda Lepore. Now, the Home Ministry will focus on efforts to strengthen the security of the nation's borders. Now, Minister Datuk Seri Hamzah Zainuddin said the function of Border Security Agency, AXEM, needs to be strategically enhanced. Met after presenting the Excellent Performance Awards to Ministry officers and personnel in Putrajaya, the Minister said the relevant agencies should be equipped with strategic assets in line with the latest technology.
Got to have a strategic jentera-jentera yang diperlukan. Semua ada aset-aset itu daripada udara, laut sendiri atau di daratan sendiri. We have got to be very serious in this issue. Kalau tidak nanti masalah pendapat pendatang asing sebagai contoh. Kita tak tahu mereka masuk ke mana. Sama ada ianya melalui pintu utama ataupun daripada sepadan-sepadan yang longgar di seluruh negara kita. Maka sebab itu kita ingat yang paling utama yang perlu kita ambil perhatian adalah melalui sempadan-sempadan.
Now, there is no urgent need to suspend Friday prayers following the COVID-19 outbreak in the country, as the current situation is still under control. Now, Religious Affairs Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Datuk Seri Dr. Zulkifli Mohamad Al-Bakri, said the Friday congregational prayers, which are obligatory for all Muslim males, should proceed with some adjustments, such as shortening the Friday sermon. Datuk Seri Dr. Zulkifli said Friday prayers could only be cancelled and replaced by Zohor prayers in a situation where the pandemic spreads uncontrollably in the country. The former Federal Territories Mufti said it is also subject to the pandemic showing its impact on the area or having many of the members of the congregation being tested positive for COVID-19 and restriction issued by the relevant authorities such as the Ministry of Health. To avoid any confusion, he said guidelines on the matter would be issued by JPM soon. Now, the Human Resources Ministry has refuted the viral alleged positive COVID-19 case in Pasir Gudang as fake news. In a statement, the Department of Occupational Safety and Health, DOSH, denied that it had issued any statements on the spread of COVID-19 in Pasir Gudang or anywhere else in the state. It stressed that there are no any COVID-19 cases reported in the district or the surrounding areas. The public are also reminded not to disseminate any news and information about COVID-19 without first checking with the Ministry of Health. Earlier, a statement allegedly from DOSH was circulated on social media claiming that there was COVID-19 infection in Pasir Gudang and that the people should avoid certain public places in the area. Now, a Kopitiam worker today told the trial of a driver who allegedly caused a sports utility vehicle SUV to flip into the sea from the Pulau Pinang Bridge that they were at a bar in Georgetown celebrating a birthday of a mutual friend prior to the incident. Prosecution witness Tan Wei Ji, 22, said the driver MK Vaitiswaran, 21, was also present at the party. This happened some 6 hours before the accident on the 20th of January 2019, which caused Mui Yun Peng to die in his SUV, which sank in the North Channel. His body was found dead inside his Mazda CX-5 SUV at the bottom of the sea. Tan positively identified Vaitiswaran as driving a black Toyota Vios to the birthday party at a bar on Love Lane, Georgetown. He said the driver was a close friend of Mui and was part of the circle of friends that night. Tan said he only realized Moi had died after police showed him part of Moi's SUV registration plates bearing the number 1955 and also a mobile phone belonging to the deceased. Vaitiswaran has pleaded not guilty to a charge of causing death by reckless or dangerous driving under Section 41, Subsection 1 of the Road Transport Act 1987 on February 11, 2019 and is out on 7,000 ringgit bail. His driving license has been suspended until the trial ends and he is required to check in at the nearest police station monthly. Now, 3 Perak Perikatan Nasional PN leaders had an audience with the Sultan of Perak, Sultan Nazrin Shah, at Istana Kinta Ipoh today to brief His Majesty on the latest political developments in the state. The political leaders were from Bersatu, UMNO and PAS. The trio, Perak UMNO Chairman Datuk Saharani Mohamad, Perak Bersatu Chairman Datuk Seri Ahmad Faizal Azumu and Perak PAS Commissioner Rasman Zakaria arrived at the palace at around 2 p.m. A list of possible Menteri Besar candidates from the 3 parties under the newly formed Perikatan Nasional have been presented to the Sultan. This is the second time the 3 leaders were granted an audience with Sultan Nazrin after the first last Tuesday, after Perak PN obtained the majority support to form the new state government. Also seen at the palace were 7 out of the 10 former Perak excos. Going for a quick break, but when we come back, travel agents in a quandary over mass cancellations. According to the Institute of Chartered Accountants in England and Wales's ICAEW latest economic update, Southeast Asia report, economic growth in Malaysia is expected to slow to 3.7% in 2020 as the COVID-19 epidemic continues to weigh on tourism, supply chains and household spending. Now, in a statement released today, ICAEW, however, said growth is expected to bring back to 4.5% in 2021, supported by accommodative macro policies and fiscal stimulus. The statement said the impact from the COVID-19 situation on China's economy will continue to spill over to Malaysia in the first and second quarters of 2020 through lower tourism flows, household spending and varying degrees of supply chain disruptions. However, these headwinds are expected to be temporary. Meanwhile, expansionary monetary policy and proactive boosts to fiscal spending will stabilize domestic demand and partially ease the impact of the virus situation. Among these policies are the economic stimulus package announced by the Malaysian government, aimed at softening the impact of COVID-19 on the economy while preserving the welfare of citizens. ICAEW economic advisor and Oxford Economics lead Asia economist Sean Fenner said while the impact of the COVID-19 outbreak will be larger than that of SARS due to greater movement of people and interdependence of supply chains, most of the economic impact will be in the first quarter of 2020. Now, the Malaysian Association of Tour and Travel Agents, MATA, has called on new Tourism Minister Nancy Shukri to amend a clause in the Tourism Industry Act which it says has caused issues in the mass cancellations of tourist packages following the COVID-19 outbreak. The provision referred to as, quote-unquote, the fourth schedule in the Tourism Industry Act 1992, seeks to regulate the terms and conditions in holiday contracts between consumers and tour operaters.
To the questions,
MATA President Dato' Tan Kok Leang said the provision had placed travel agents in a quandary as customers were seeking compensation as refunds for their tours following the virus outbreak.
But MATA believe that the commercial regulations, the law of contract should be able to overcome, and we are not happy, we go to the court of law. There's no need for a Minister of Tourism who is doing promotions to interfere with the consumers' holiday contracts.
Briefing reporters this morning, Dato' Tan said travel agents are now exposed to potential liability of around 500 million ringgit from customers seeking compensation regardless of the cancellation and refund policies of various service providers. He said this was problematic as travel agents might have already distributed the funds to other tourism providers such as transport companies, hotels, airlines, restaurants and related businesses. Now, the Works Ministry will focus on the construction industry to assist households from the B40 low-income and M40 middle-income groups in driving the country's economy. As such, the ministry will embark on various initiatives, which includes reviewing the previous government's approach and re-present it to the Cabinet and the Economic Action Council. According to Minister Dato' Sri Fadillah Yusof, the government is clear that the country's development is in more focused direction.
Dan insyaAllah kita akan bergerak, bekerja, memberi tumpuan untuk memastikan bahawa kerajaan ini adalah kerajaan yang akan memberi fokus kepada memberi kepentingan pada negara dan memfokuskan kepada kepentingan rakyat.
On the construction of the Pan Borneo Highway, the minister said it will continue through the use of the conventional project approach adopted by the previous government following the termination of the Project Delivery Partner (PDP) contract, which took effect on the 20th of February this year. Nevertheless, he said the government would study the approach in detail to ensure the project is completed on time and that construction quality is guaranteed. Now, on the Malaysia Agreement 1963, MA63, Dato' Sri Fadillah said the discussion on the matter will be continued. Now, Dato' Sri Fadillah, who is also Gabungan Parti Sarawak GPS party, said the matter was also raised during the first cabinet meeting held yesterday. He said, in principle, the Prime Minister has agreed to give priority to incorporating MA63 into the Constitution. He added that the rights of Sabah and Sarawak will be returned to these states as agreed before. He said, from an administrative aspect, the matter had already been agreed upon and now the focus was on the legal aspect. The Communications and Multimedia Ministry, KKMM, will introduce a new objective, namely to boost intelligence in society. Now, Minister Dato' Saifuddin Abdullah said intelligence in this context refers to as society which is able to procure and benefit from knowledge and skills. To achieve this, the minister announced the setting up of a Communications and Multimedia Consultative Council, comprising stakeholders in legislative and policy areas, as well as the ministry's programs.
Normally, in this kind of consultative council, you will invite people from outside the ministry. We already have enough good talents, good thinkers, in the ministry, the KSU and the senior officers, but we also need inputs from outside. So in this context, I have to look at who are the experts related to the laws that are administered by the ministry, the policies, yeah, the industry, yeah. So different sets of people, but basically they represent the three major stakeholders, i.e. the state, which is of course the ministry, the business, yeah, and the civil society or the community.
He added that the ministry's policies and programs which have been implemented or are being drawn up will be continued to ensure continuity in providing service to the people. Meanwhile, Datuk Saifuddin also pledged to uphold media freedom and not to compromise on fake news.
I think Freedom of Information Act is very much an agenda that I will pursue. I can guarantee you, I can assure you that I will continue upholding freedom of speech, freedom for organization, including freedom of the media. That you can take it from me, regardless which party I belong to.
Asked on the 3 billion ringgit allocated for the National Fiberization and Connectivity Plan (NFCP) announced in the Economic Stimulus Package 2020, Datuk Saifuddin said the allocation remained intact for now and the plan to roll out was still on track. Now, Burra Member of Parliament Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob officially begins work as Defence Minister today. He arrived at Dataran Wisma Pertahanan at Jalan Padang Tembak at 9:30 a.m. and was greeted by Deputy Defence Minister Datuk Seri Iqmal Hisham Abdul Aziz, who also started work today. Also present were the Ministry's Secretary-General Datuk Muez Abdul Aziz and Malaysian Armed Forces Chief Tan Sri Effendi Buang and commanders of all 3 wings of the Armed Forces. Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri, who is also a senior minister in Cabinet, then took the salute of the Guard of Honour mounted by the 1st Battalion of the Royal Malay Regiment, led by Major Muhammad Izam Ahmad Rashidi. He said that the Defence White Paper, DWP, will continue to be the Ministry's main guide in the planning and implementing of short, medium and long-term plans. The Minister and his Deputy took their oath as Defence Minister and Deputy Defence Minister respectively before the Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah at Istana Melawati in Putrajaya last Tuesday. For sports, Perak beats PJ City FC to move up to 2nd spot. Perak beat Petaling Jaya City FC 2-0 at Stadium Perak in Ipoh last night to displace Melaka from the 2nd spot of the Super League table. Now the win, Perak's 2nd in 3 matches, means coach Mehmet Durakovic's squad now have 7 points. Playing in front of 5,000 supporters, Firdaus Sayadi came close for Perak early on when his free kick flew just wide of the mark. But the hosts didn't have to wait long to take the lead as Sharul Saad popped up with a thumping header for his 2nd goal of the season. Perak continued to dominate their opponents and Cambodian midfielder Shanta Bin sealed the points with a curling free kick. The win takes Perak up to 2nd in the league behind league leaders Johor Darul Tazim.
Yeah, very good win. Like you said, without Leandro, without Patibang, without Hafizul, the young boys came in and did a very good job. So we don't have a big squad. I got to be honest, we don't have a big squad. But what I have, very young, talented kids who will run all day for me.
I'm not happy with the result, especially, and then of course we did not defend well against their set pieces. 2 goals from set pieces, I'm not happy with my team also because the final pass was not there, even though we were keeping the ball.
Argentine striker Nicolas Velez fired a brace as Felda United recorded their first victory of the season with a 3-2 victory over Melaka in the Malaysian Super League. Playing on home ground at the Tun Abdul Razak Stadium in Maran, Velez needed only 7 minutes to get off the mark when he stole in unmarked at the far post to smash into the top corner to put his side in front. Khairul Amri Muhammad Kamal doubled that advantage 8 minutes later with a thumping volley that gave Melaka's Khairul Fahmi Chemat no chance as Felda looked in cruise control. Velez killed off the game after the break with a clinical finish thanks to Khairul Amri's layoff. Melaka finished the game strongly with 2 late goals from Romel Morales and Uche Agba, but Felda had done enough for 3 points. Terengganu FC, or TFC, came back 3 times to draw 3-3 with Selangor in a dramatic match at Stadium Sultan Mizan Zainal Abidin in Gong Badak, Kuala Nerus. Selangor's lethal striker Ifedaya Olusegun drew first blood for the Red Giants in the 38th minute before substitute Muhammad Rahmat Makazov equalized for the Homesters 4 minutes later. Selangor went ahead again when Khairil Muhaimin Zambri scored off a corner kick taken by Sandro Mendonça in the 51st minute before TFC drew level 2 minutes later through Sanjar Shakmedov. Australia-born Malaysian Brendan Gunn scored Selangor's third goal in the 69th minute, but home team skipper Lee Andrew Tuck snatched a point for TFC by converting a penalty in the dying minutes of the game. TFC had been down to 10 men after midfielder Muhammad Azalinullah Muhammad Alias was flashed a red card by referee Muhammad Amirul Izwan Yaakob in the 79th minute for picking up his second yellow card. Now, Kedah found UITM goalkeeper Haziq Aris a major stumbling block as the visitors could only settle for a point against their resilient opponents at the UITM Stadium in Shah Alam. The visitors threatened early on and got their breakthrough in the 30th minute as Kepa Sherman curled a beautiful effort into the top corner. Kedah could have doubled their advantage shortly after, but Haziq stood firm to parry away Sherman's penalty after Osman Fahmi handled in the box. The goalkeeper's excellence paid off as UITM striker Gustavo Dos Santos was ice cool to finish off a counter-attack for the point. News on to this evening. A reminder of our top story, Home Ministry to strengthen border security. Join us for more updates at noon tomorrow with updates at noon at 12:30. Till then, I'm Brendan Lepal. Thanks for watching. Good night.